Good morning.
Good morning, Matt.
It's episode 129
of Suzilla. Yes, indeed.
Here-
At Wenatchee Insurance.
Yes.
Suzie Health Solutions, 413 North Mission, Wenatchee, Washington. What other demographics do they?
I think that's
that
about
covers
it.
the most of it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to get into it today because we have entered into a contest
Yes.
called Supernova with 25 other businesses.
It's kind of exciting.
It is actually incredibly exciting, and it's terrifying at the same time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know,
And I don't know a ton about it. I just kind of been working with my clients, and it's happening kind of around me. Matt and Shayla have been really tackling this, but from what I understand, it's kind of I don't know if it has like reality show rules or not, but I think it's basically we present our awesomeness to a group of panelists.
Well, yeah, there's going to be panels. There's going to be the big thing that I wanted to get to for the whole thing is the boot camp. The boot camp. Das Boot.
Okay, what's the boot camp all about?
The boot camp is kind of a small business primer on, well, creating a small business.
Okay.
So it's you know, they bring in experts from all different fields and they help you out. You know, there's one section on taxes.
That's awesome.
There's marketing. there's networking events.
So is it a competition or is it just a general education opportunity?
It's both.
Okay, so anybody who gets rolling with this is going to come away with new education and skills.
Yes, comes away with knowledge.
That's awesome.
The winner, I want to say, gets like $10,000.
Okay.
There's some other prizes along the way.
Of course.
So very reality show feel.
Do you have to like do physical challenges and stuff?
Well, April did put on the dancing hot dog outfit.
April, our friend who owns Dooley Dogs. So she I don't think she won, but she had a great experience.
She had a great experience. That was the one that I started looking over the shoulder, and I could really see her develop as a young business person.
Yeah, and she's really rocking it.
Mm-hmm. And she's a hoot, and she's out there on Facebook and producing these funny videos, and just awesome. I will never be able to match that energy. No. But yeah, we've known April for 20 plus years.
Oh yeah, easy. We love her. She's one of our favorite people.
But yeah,
if you ever get a chance to have one of the Dooley, she's got her hot dog cart, and if you ever get a chance to, she's often down at the Town Toyota Center for the for events and for the hockey games. Yeah. So if you get a chance, go have a hot dog. They're really good.
Mm-hmm. But I was starting to put together, the information packet.
Yes.
They sent it to us, and it's really, we've tackled a lot of it.
Oh, that's good. So so maybe we have a little bit of a edge on some of the newbies.
Yeah, because for the last 8-9 months we've been assembling Wenatchee Insurance. So,
that's assuming that we did it the way they like it.
Well, there are some really differences in thoughts.
Yeah.
Because I think I get this feel that we're the first financial group in.
Quite possibly. When people think small business, they think of goods rather than services a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's two different photography groups. One is was it P2X Studios?
Yeah, we've crossed our path before, and vice versa.
Yeah, because
great folks.
They got what really fascinates me is their studio space.
Yeah.
But there's so those are the closest to service. We got 2 direct medical folks.
Interesting that we've got 2 of them coming in. Not that I hate the idea. Mm-hmm. Direct medical, in case you didn't know, is basically a concierge kind of.
It is concierge.
Okay,
you're paying the doctor directly for services on a fee base. It's not necessarily always a fee base. Usually, it's a subscription based.
Right. And there's no insurance involved.
There can be. Depends on how they set it up.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
Because I have seen blended styles of that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like dentists who have their own in-house subscription service.
Yeah. Same idea.
It's very, very similar.
Very similar concept.
I usually point out to the Office of the Insurance Commissioner, they actually run a list of direct medical providers on the legitimacy of them.
Okay, so the OIC is keeping a serious eye on these. Now, if they don't accept insurance, why would the OIC have anything to do with them?
The OIC is a multi-million-dollar government agency.
Well, yeah.
I don't poke them too hard at what they regulate.
Okay, we just let them do their job. Seems like the Department of Health would be involved as well.
Probably.
Because they do the licensing for doctors and other providers.
Yeah, but the like I said, the direct medical is one of those weird groups. Another example of a direct medical provider is the clinic with the fruit packing sheds.
Yeah. Stimilt's got one.
Stimilt's has got one, but yeah, they're that private in-house doctor.
Yeah, and what it does is it gives a person the ability to see a doctor without being part of I'm not getting the words out.
Okay, I will expand on that.
Thank you.
The doctor is getting paid somehow.
Oh yeah,
it's a business.
Oh, it's not a charity.
And the business in the case of Stimilt pays for that service.
Yes.
Instead of the individuals having it come out of their check.
Right.
So do not, for some reason, the medical profession gets a buy from a lot of people on a stereotype that they are a wonderful charitable organization out there that will take a chicken if you need it, if they need payment. No, they're a business.
Yeah. So I think that it kind of hit me a few years ago. It's like, hold on a second. Dentists and chiropractors are small business people.
Yes.
And I had the whole la doctor thing and wasn't even considering the fact that they had overhead and payroll and they're a small business. It's like, so when I changed the way I thought about those individual providers, it was like a light bulb went on. And they're doing the same thing. And I don't hate it. It gives some competition, gives some variety of choice to people in the Valley, which I like a lot.
Yeah, and they had and one of and this is a great segue over to what they call the triple bottom line.
Yes, we they talked about the triple bottom line in your packet.
Yeah.
And you look at us like, hey, what'd you learn?
Okay. So I had to look this thing up. And the reason I had to look this thing up is because I only went so far in college. It wasn't for a business degree.
Yeah.
And most of my learning has been with associations and trial and error. Yeah. It's very
a lot of winging
brutal. And they talked about the triple line, which was people, planet, and profits.
Okay.
Which is a very old school capitalism long-term thinking. This is pre-70s.
I like the long-term concept.
And the reason why I say this is pre-70s because it was Milton Freewater. He wrote some papers on
Milton Freewater is a city in Oregon.
I can't remember who it was. It's early in the morning.
Some guy named Milton.
Yeah, some guy named Milton.
He probably had a red staple on his desk.
Yeah. And he changed on how capitalism was viewed in the Western world, and that it was only about the bottom line. It took away it took away its responsibility on how it interacted with the communities.
Right. I remember we've talked about this before, and I don't remember the guy's name either. But yeah, he totally changed up the way that corporations thought of themselves.
Yeah, and that went into that whole greedy me, buy companies, sell pieces off, tear down that America went through in the 80s and 90s.
And it's still happening.
It's just
in slightly different variants. And when you've got a holding company buying giant corporations, like, okay, they're buying it to parcel it out, or they're going to buy it, drain every penny out of it, and then sell it. That happens all the time.
Yeah.
I've been party to that when I've been employed by a company that happened to.
Yeah. And if you get in and you experience that, and it's like, that was one of those conscious things that we did. It's like, no, we're not going to be any part of that environment.
No, we intentionally avoided that.
And so the question was almost laughable because we had built that in just naturally. When we got together, it was 2 weekends ago, and talked about, what we want in our office, our third space for our people.
Check last week's podcast.
You checked last week's podcast, and one of the things that came up was recycling.
Yeah.
Where's the recycling at? And it's an honest question. It's that thoughtful nature of looking forward. We joke about, hey, we're going to, go as paperless as much as we can, because we don't want massive file cabinets like the old insurance agencies.
Oh yeah.
You'll walk in and you kind of smell this mildy paper. And it's really true. I actually got the opportunity to shred a bunch of my property stuff because I'd been out, writing those policies were over 6 years old.
Right, and you can do that after a certain point.
Yes.
Most of my stuff, if I have paper on somebody, it's usually 10 years when it comes to health. But
yeah, for Medicare, yeah.
Which reminds me, I should probably start thinking about that.
So yeah, you're gonna have to start having people like that.
What I started doing this last couple of years is I will actually put the date on the file so I'll know when to pull it. Smart Suzie. So I have to open it. I just look at the tab.
But yeah, that is a distinct clash. It's one of the reasons why we are strong advocates for sending stuff via encrypted email instead of fax.
Yep.
Because those fax documents, those have to be held on to a certain period of time because it deals with an insurance transaction.
Correct. Whereas an encrypted document can be stored digitally, which saves a whole lot of trees and time and space.
So yeah, there is some natural thing. However, and this is important, not all insurance companies operate with that in mind.
No.
One of our friends, they actually did open enrollment, and for each person that they worked with, they had a ticket,
a piece of paper,
formal ticket note for every single one.
I can't imagine how exhausting
and
that
he
must
did,
have been.
and they did a lot over the phone.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, why didn't you just have your phone system record it and have it on file? So if you needed to go back to it, there it was.
Well, I mean, yeah, Medicare, you're supposed to be recording.
And he's
a sharp cookie.
He's a sharp cookie. He's fairly modern, but we see time and time again there's a cultural clash when it comes to being a producer, being an agent,
yes,
and being a small business.
Yes.
These are all clash points. So that if you walk in off the streets and say you've got a nice government job that's paid as an hourly wage or even a salary, maybe.
Yeah.
It's very different when you walk into an insurance office and what they're doing. I was, they asked, what were some of the tasks? What are common tasks?
Oh, our tasks.
And I'm like, oh, you mean like work with AI? Because I'm actually writing stuff with AI.
Oh, you are? Yeah, absolutely. That's part of our automated system is if you touch us in one of our digital formats, you'll probably talk to a bot for a minute.
Yeah. And that's part of our thing. If, I write using AI. For job descriptions, not every agency does that, but it's part of our culture.
Yeah. And it works for us. It's one of the reasons why we can be a 3-person office and still get things done.
Yeah, sharing information from website to website using API.
Yeah. And I go, yeah, because I know what that means. But there's people going, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah,
and that's okay.
That's okay. However, if you want to start doing the latest and improve the feel for customers, you have to understand where the technology is going.
Yeah, and where your audience is with their technology skills.
Yeah, well, it's not their technology. The more skilled you are with technology, the dumber the presentation is. So the client doesn't have to have all that slickness.
Yeah, they don't need the skills, but they still, I mean, we were discussing yesterday that most of our under 40 maybe clients, they would rather be getting a text than a voicemail. But which means they probably most likely have a smartphone, which is the technology level that we need to be aware of.
About 80% of them have smartphones at least.
And the thing is, we also have other ways to reach us that don't require texts.
Yeah. However, when we look at doing communication, text is a primary driver.
One of the reasons why it works so well, at least in this industry, is it gives us clean documentation.
You know? It gives us clean documentation. The consumer can read it at their own leisure, and they have a to-do.
Yes, it gives them a clear to-do list.
Versus email, which is just kind of filed away.
Yeah. Email is really losing its steam for personal conversations.
It is. For a while there, one of the biggest factors for marketing was email marketing.
Absolutely.
There's a number of people that swear by it in a number of industries that it's like, oh, do I get this? And it's like, okay, what's your open rate?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
And that is one of those questions you ask for email marketers. Okay, what's your open rate?
Okay, and here's a really interesting slight railroad spur on this one. Email is anxiety inducing for some folk.
Yeah.
If you are in a bad state emotionally, last thing you do is open your email.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff can get missed that way because people don't
Yeah, that's a layer in from the physical mail. And we see a lot of that with the physical mail.
Yep.
There are people who just have stacks of physical mail that never open.
Exactly, because it creates terror in them. And that's a very it's a very human response, and it's just be aware that you might not be getting through if you send an email, and you might not be getting through if you call and leave a message. You might not be getting through even if you leave a text, but the important thing is to try.
Yeah, and the what's the most important thing that you can that an insurance agency can do, and that's just activity.
Yeah,
and that's one of those things I've had to drill into some of my peers. It's like, hey, look, you're not going to just sit in an office.
Yeah.
And the reason why you're not going to sit in the office is because there needs to be activity. We are very fortunate with just massive levels of outreach. However, some of our peers who've been, longer than 30 years are relying on, well, we've been here over 30 years.
Yeah.
This is how we've always done things.
Yeah. And unless you're starting to wind up your office and your career, it's not a great way you're not staying
relevant.
I was going to go with vital, but yeah.
Because
it's okay if you're winding it up. That's you can go, hey, I've been here for 30 years. This is the way I've always done it, and I'll be closing in 5 years.
Well, that's also the marketing level.
Yes.
That's hey, I've got phone book ads. I may rely on advertisings from, if I'm a captive agent, from big Papa farmers.
Mm-hmm.
But it's what are you doing on the micro scale? What are you doing to interact with your hey, awesome, you go to Chamber of Commerce that's got 300 members.
Mm-hmm.
That may be some level of activity.
Mm-hmm.
Usually not. Out of the 45,000 soup members, when they ask the question, hey, who goes to BNI's, Chamber of Commerce, Rotary, the civics clubs, what is your level of business you're writing? The ones that are going to those are not writing a whole lot of business.
No, it's not. It's not creating. It's not generating the leads. If you're going to join a service club, join a service club to do the service. Don't join a service club to get leads. That's just right there.
Well, it's not. It's business has changed.
Oh, absolutely.
And then a lot of those organizations that are created and are running around saying, "Hey, we're all about business. We're all about supporting small business."
Yeah,
is BS.
Yeah, that's your BNI groups.
There's only so much they can push, and it's lip service mostly to get a subscription.
Yeah. Because sometimes you have to spend money to be part of these groups.
Mm-hmm.
And do you get a good enough return of investment to warrant the investment?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the answer is, unfortunately, too frequently with those kind of situations, the answer is no. Sometimes the answer is yes. And then one thing you also have to consider is with certain situations, chambers of commerce and things like that, it's not necessarily about generating leads, but just making sure that your name and face is still out there in the community, so people will, one of the things we're working on with Suzie Health Solutions is basically saturating the market so everyone knows who to go to when it comes to health insurance. And what being part of a chamber of commerce or a service group allows is it gets our name in people's heads.
Yeah, and we are members of a chamber of commerce.
2, actually.
Oh, we were up to 2?
Well, we did the Wenatchee Chamber, or the Wenatchee Downtown Association. Wenatchee Downtown Association and the GSBA, right.
And GSBA is the LGBTQ and Allied Chamber of Commerce. It's the largest in North America and it represents over 1,300 small businesses.
Right, including us.
We are also the only member in Wenatchee.
Yes.
So we are actually pulling resources to our town.
Right. They have traditionally got their businesses are traditionally out of more larger cities.
Actually, the
metropolitan areas. There's the phrase I was looking for.
The GS stands for Greater Seattle.
Oh, there you go. That explains it.
And yeah, they've developed a considerable network. I know they did a strong presence in Yakima last year. But the big thing is we have access now to 1,300 different businesses. I did an amazing course yesterday talking about revenue streams.
Oh, awesome.
And some simple things that we can incorporate, and some surprising amount that we've done already. One of the things that she was talking about was doing teaching courses and charging for them.
That's interesting.
And because you want to have multiple revenue streams, and I remembered back into the early days of legalized cannabis in Washington State, and I was teaching courses on how to do a business and getting paid for it.
That's true. You did get a couple of paychecks from that. Yeah.
So it's like, oh my gosh, I already did that.
Yeah. And we know how to do that if we want to do it again.
Yeah. One of the other things was, that she mentioned was start a second job. Have a part-time job. You did a part-time job for 7 years.
I hated it too.
Yes, but it kept revenue in. And
Yeah,
it's
it did. And because we were building the business. So I worked 7 days a week
Yeah,
for 5 years because we were building. And then we got to the point where we didn't need to have that anymore.
and that's when you turned it off.
And it worked.
And that's exactly what her advice was.
Turn it off.
Is like, do not leave that part-time job until you replaced its income.
And we did. That's exactly what we did. That's exactly what happened. And then once I did leave that part-time job, our income, we'd replace the income from the part-time job. And then I focused entirely here and we blew up. Yeah. We really did.
And there's, like I said, there's different ways, steps along the way to make it. She said, pick, if you need a revenue job, if you need a second job, have one that's complimentary, that's not stealing your time.
See, my part-time job was complimentary to this. We got leads from it.
We did get leads from it, but yeah, it was
my favorite people. Was it my favorite people or my clients?
Yeah, you kept you kept your clients,
and I kept connections in the industry that actually still gets my card out to people.
Yeah, and
in fact, I've got someone coming in next week,
despite having left that for almost 3 years now.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are different things, but it's a different culture.
Oh, very different culture.
Our marketing spend,
yes,
is so much greater than the old timers. Mm-hmm. It's different in appearance and use. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're talking about we geo-target addresses.
Yeah, you love that.
We can do Google ad searches on key names. Mm-hmm. We are definitely interacting on different levels that if we're not just going into a musty office and punching a typewriter.
No, we don't even have desk phones.
We don't have fax machine. We don't have desk phones. It's an entirely different environment. So when someone says, hey, we need, what's our hourly? What do you bring? An hourly is an expenditure. Mm. It means we have to hang up posters. It means that they don't participate in profit sharing. Mm-hmm. It means that they don't want equality.
No, they just want a paycheck.
They want a paycheck. And so it's a different thought process. And we want to continue that as long as possible because we want people that are interested in that equality, interested in building, into the business, interested in investing in themselves and the business. They ask me, well, how much hours you spend?
All of them.
And it's like, okay, well, maybe 20 to 30 on just this project. Because I'm putting another 20 to 30 over here in Suzie Health Solutions. I'm putting another 20 to 30 in something else. Mm-hmm. There is an incredible amount of energy into this lifestyle of having these multiple revenue streams. It's like, I'm trying to figure out how to drop ship my T-shirts using websites and promoting that website. There are, and that becomes it's not this traditional, hey, 9 to 5, get an hourly paycheck and call it good. It's never going to be that way.
No.
for the up and comers. We didn't have a business handed to us by Papa.
No.
You support the people to your left and right and your clients.
Yeah.
It's a very different mindset that goes into it. You're not doing, are you doing seasonal sales? Are you doing, what's your cost of goods? What's the bottom line? Just taking out the 30% of taxes, and it's like, well, what goes into that, driving that net is a whole lot of dollars for marketing, a whole lot of dollars for technology.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, in reality, it's like, oh yeah, what can you make? It's a vulgar amount for a weekly if I was just writing policies.
Oh yeah.
But in reality, the odds of you writing every single moment of just policies is very slim.
Oh yeah.
The closest we've come to it is November.
Yeah, and those big enrollment months where it's basically literally I'm doing every minute with clients.
And November is one of those things. We did, it was like over 700 appointments from October 1st to December 15th.
Mm-hmm.
In the month of November, we took one day off.
Thanksgiving.
We had people coming in here at 4 a.m. to write policies.
Mm-hmm. The following day. We did a Black Friday event because it was fun.
We literally filled every possible slot with a person, and we expanded our calendar 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And there were still people that didn't get in.
I know.
So, but to get to that point, to get to that November, every single day we talked about November.
Mm-hmm.
We marketed all year round.
Yep.
To get to that 1 month of writing massive amounts of policy.
Yep.
So it's a different mindset. And yes, those policies, we didn't get paid till February.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're still rolling in.
They're still trying to catch up, because one of the key advantages to the insurance industry is that as a whole, we suck at computers. And we'll leave it at that. Hey, have a good day. The industry is changing. Find those people that are doing changes that want to serve you.
That's correct. All right. Bye.
Bye.